Hello, QPR fans of Players TV. How anyway? Got an extra bonus pre-match preview for you with a Derby fan on board, with the one, the only, Mr. Jason Straw. How you doing, Jason?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, DJ. Thanks, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, fella. Trying to cope in this COVID situation like the rest of us. How you guys doing up there in Derby with it? Is it going to plan, or is it just been a bit mental for you guys?
Yeah, it's been a little bit crazy. We just before Christmas, it really started to the numbers started to ramp up round us. It was pretty low, to be fair, but then over Christmas, it's just started to. It kind of got a bit worse. I think the latest figures over the last couple of days, it's just starting to slow down now, a little bit. Fingers crossed, and we're starting to see a bit of a decline. Hopefully.
Well, hopefully it carries on, mate, and we can kind of obviously it's not going to go away, obviously, but we can get back to some kind of normality and in our lives again, as such, to a degree.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because unfortunately we were one of the unlucky ones who were in the highest tier when some lucky ones got some fans back. So we missed out on that as a home fan. Anyway, we did get to see a couple of games away. We got Millwall and Brentford away when they had some fans in there, which added a different dimension to what we've been used to for the last 12 months. But yet to see any fans back at Pride Park, mate, and I can't wait till they can.
Oh yeah, I mean with us, I think we had some fans allowed back in. I think it was 2000 or so. Like the clubs that were allowed it, and whether it makes any difference. I think in our 2 or 3 games that we had, I think we lost one, drew one. I don't think we won any games when the fans were there. So I don't think it makes a difference to us whether they are or not, kind of thing. But it must be good for the fans to actually get back, for the ones who managed to get on the ballot and get to actually see some live football for a change. Which unfortunately you guys haven't been able to do, only through TV, watching it on whatever. But thanks for joining me back on QPR Fans and Players TV. We meet again.
Yes.
For another game, I'll do a reverse fixture, obviously, where we fortunately won the game 1-0. And as we spoke about that previous game before, our games ain't that really high scoring. And going on the season so far from both sides, personally, myself, I think we're both similar teams in the way that we've had indifferent results throughout the season up to now, kind of thing. We've had some wins and we've had some not so great games and we've had losses, hence where we are in the table. But with us, I think we've won a couple of games recently. That could be kind of a couple of green shoots. With Derby, is there any green shoots kind of appearing, or what's been happening since Mr. Rooney's taken over officially as manager, and you've had Steve McClaren come back as well in some format to the club?
Yeah, I mean, obviously after Koku left on the 14th of November, not too long after we played each other the first time round, I mean, there was a noticeable improvement. I mean, it would have been catastrophic if it had got any worse. To be honest, we really were down there. But I think the first 5 or 6 games under Rooney, we obviously McClaren involved as well. Obviously, Derby are well known to McClaren throughout the years, and you could see straight away it was kind of reverted back to a way that you would expect to play under McClaren. He's gone very much behind the scenes, off the radar this time, but you can see his influences on the training pitch 100%. Obviously, certainly recently, and obviously that day back in 2014 when he was the manager, he got us playing a certain way, and it started to creep back. We got a lot more solid, something that for the first 11, 12 games of the season, we could not keep a clean sheet. We then kept 4 in 5. But the wins didn't really come. We had a home draw against Wickham, a late goal conceded by us. We had a 1-1 draw against Coventry at home. Again, a late equaliser. We actually went to Bournemouth and drew 1-1. We played really well for 45 minutes, and then the second half we just sat back and panicked. And that unfortunately we did well to hold on really to a point. And then Derby got a win at Millwall just before Christmas, and obviously notoriously most teams going to the Den, that's never great. That was Millwall's first game with some fans back, you fully expected a torrid day for Derby, and we actually played really, really well. And then again, we've picked up a couple of decent results, obviously over the Christmas period, beating Birmingham away 4-0. That was huge. I mean, that's the first time we've scored 4 goals in a game for about 12, 13 months.
Okay.
So that goes to show you where kind of Derby were struggling. We've also picked up a good win against Swansea at home, 2-0. And that was only the third time this season that we've scored more than 1 goal in a game. So again, that goes to show you kind of which area we've been struggling. But the chances created is definitely up. The goals we score is definitely up. We're still not firing on all cylinders. Obviously, a bit of a shoddy result. Really, no offence to any Rotherham fans, but for Derby, it was a poor result on Saturday against Rotherham. But in a game that Rotherham deserved to win, I'm not going to say that they didn't. They came with a game plan and they did a number over Derby. But then, just as we were mentioning just a second ago before we came live, Bournemouth on Tuesday, and we absolutely dominated them. And it could have been more than the one. So other than I think we lost to Middlesbrough 3-0, which was the first kind of game that Rooney had in interim charge. Since then, things have been getting better. We're still huffing and puffing. We seem to still be better away from home than we are at home. But we have noticed teams that kind of come at us, we can pick them off a bit. Teams who sit in and wait for us to counter us. That's where we're coming a little bit unstuck, and we kind of came unstuck against Preston on Boxing Day. We lost 1-0, but we did have a man sent. We had Martin Waghorn sent off early after about 10 minutes in that game. But in all fairness, we created enough to win the game still, but we just not putting our chances away. And then it's starting to creep back into the game. We're actually the last 3 or 4 games we've started scoring from a few more corners and a few more set pieces, and that's something that's been missing from Derby's game for quite some time. We're still missing an attacking threat up front, really. We're 3 weeks obviously into a transfer window, but unfortunately because of the takeover or not takeovers might be happening, we're under a transfer embargo, so we can't bring anybody in at the minute. There is still hope that something can be done by the end of January, but rumours are this week that the people that were looking to buy Derby have actually potentially lost their main investment, so that takeover might not end up happening. So bringing people in might be a little bit difficult, and so we're possibly going to have to go with what we've got, which we've let 2 go already in January. So the numbers were thin before. I mean, you looked at our bench on Tuesday night against Bournemouth, and we had 5 16-year-olds on it. So, and I say we've lost another 2 now. We've still got 2 out, 2 first teamers out with injury. Doesn't look like they're certainly not going to be back for tomorrow. Probably not going to be back for another couple of weeks. So we're thin on the ground at the minute. But performance-wise, it's picking up, which needed to happen, really.
Okay. I mean, it very sounds much like us lot. I mean, obviously, we're at the wrong end of the table for obviously not putting the ball in the back of the net, as you stated. Like us, we've been struggling because obviously where we had Hugo and Wells on loan last season, unfortunately, Dykes and Bond haven't really hit it off as much as what Hugo and Wells did. Obviously, whether that's down to the quality of the player, etc. and so forth. I mean, it's not they're not trying. They are trying, but obviously things haven't happened for them. It's just not happened at all. Final balls in there. They've had some great chances to score. Okay, watching it on the TV or at the stadium, you think I should score that. There was one game where Dykes looked like she should have scored, but the actual defender got a toe in it, and that took the ball off and put it onto his shin, and then it went wide. Yeah, so we're very much in a similar situation. We were struggling to score goals. I mean, I did look at some of your previous results, and the games that you have lost, you've only been, for the exception of the Middlesbrough game, I think it was 3-0, as you stated, 3-0, and obviously you beat Birmingham away 4-0. It's only got 1 goal margins in a lot of your games. So, consider that, okay, it's still a defeat like we for us. You still lost. That's what will go down in the records. But if there's shoots of green leaves coming out, as you're saying, then that can only be a positive thing. And like with us now, we've actually managed to get Charlie Austin back on loan. Now,
Yeah, that's a big one for you, isn't it? Hopefully, anyway.
well, fingers crossed, Jason. I mean, it's like we've had 2 games since he come back. He scored against Luton on his second debut for us, and then obviously he scored again against Cardiff, but it was disallowed. Obviously, the guy's head was down, but his foot was up high, so it was, whether he could have played on, but obviously these days the refs are going to blow and give a free kick. Whether he's just kind of made the team have a bit more boost, because obviously we've been kind of playing well, but with our final ball, and we just can't put the ball in the back of the net. Now, Austin's not the quickest, but he knows where the goal is, obviously, to some degree. Yeah. Now, that's what fans are looking at from when he was at us previous. He was a lot younger then. He's 30 plus now. He's hardly played for, I think Southampton played a few games, even West Brom he's hardly played. Whether that's through injury, through players on form for West Brom, obviously, so he's not going to get a game, obviously. He's still getting training and stuff. So he's only been playing like 60 minutes and stuff like that for us in the 2 games that he's played back. So, and obviously we had the Wigan game cancelled because of COVID. So whether he's kind of giving the team a boost because obviously his presence and like the likes of Don and Dykes have had to up their game because he's come on loan. So if they're not firing on all cylinders, as you know yourself, we've looked like the same with your strikers and stuff. If someone comes in, they're going to get ahead of you, and then they might keep their place irrespective of whether they're on loan or whether they've joined full time. I mean, whether Charlie comes back full time after the season loan deal is another thing. I mean, I have to wait and see really. But yeah, I think yet again very similar to us how you said about your season so far. Hence where we were in the table, which struggling to score goals. We might have played well in games, which I'm sure Derby have done themselves as well, like us. But yet again, it's that either final ball or fine margins, as they say, that we just haven't been able to do it. I mean, but it seems both of us have kind of, we've seen there is a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, as they say, and hopefully things will improve for both our teams come the end of May or the start of May when the season finishes, and we'll be still hopefully either in the Championship or who knows, mate. We both might go on a major run. And
well, yeah, I mean, I still just to put kind of like Derby's topsy-turvy season into perspective. We've before the Rotherham game, just after the Rotherham game, it was a 84th minute winner for Rotherham. We've lost 16 points this season in the last 10 minutes of games.
Yeah,
you give us those 16 points, we're in 8th, and we've not played well this season. So it's very fine margins. And well, the beginning of the season, those first 10, 11 games, we were on the, like you say, they were all 1 goals in it. They're only a goal a game in it, but we were on the wrong side of those results. Whereas now we're starting to get on the right side of them a bit. I
mean, from our point of view, it's like, when you're on the wrong end of a 2-1 or a 1-0 and a late goal, like our previous game, I mean, Bond got the winner, late on in the game. That's prime example. It just obviously whether your team switched off at that present time or whether it was just a good ball from, I think it was Rob Dickey. There was a possible foul, but obviously the ref didn't give it as such at the time. Another ref may have given it. It's fine margins. I mean, when managers come on and repeat themselves like Wolverton does quite a lot, and you see fans saying this and that on social media, but it is down to fine margins. I mean,
yeah,
as well as doing it on the pitch, like with the whole team and stuff, you've got to defend well, you've got to, take, I'm not saying every team's going to take every single chance they get, because if you did, then you'd be unhuman kind of thing, because every team's not going to score every single chance, are they? Let's be honest.
No, and I think from Derby's point of view, one of the players that was missing through injury when we met at Pride Park is our holding midfielder, Christian Bielik, who we got from Arsenal last year. We paid, with add-ons, we paid nearly £10 million for him, and he's only like 21, 22. And he did his ACL after 5 games last season. So he came back in this season, not long after we played you. He's played 7 games and he's been man of the match in 5 of them.
Well, there you go.
So that just goes to show it's not the be all and end all, but he's been a big calming influence in there, and it's one of those players that the way that Derby set up, it allows the back 4 to do the back 4's job. Yeah. And then it actually allows the other 2 central midfielders that we've got to play 10 yards further up the pitch. And since they've been doing that, they've been scoring goals, they've been creating goals. Derby have been creating chances, and you'll see he took a nasty. He scored. He scored Tuesday night against Bournemouth, so in his 7 games, he's scored 2 goals already, and he's got 5 man of the matches. So, and you know, he's becoming stronger and stronger, and he's been an absolute standout for Derby. You'll probably see tomorrow if he's given time. If people crowd him out, he's a little bit not sure, but he likes to. He's not one of these that can spray 40, 50-yard balls, but he does the dirty bit in between the defence and midfield. He breaks up the play. He does technically start attacks. And if he's given the time and space tomorrow, he'll cause some trouble, and it'll allow Derby to cause QPR some trouble. So
I did notice that when I looked on the results, like he did score. I mean, obviously, like in our previous game, you were saying, and Corey, who's not been able to join us for the pre-match today, you had some injuries, obviously, as well. Hence, what the position you were in the table. Obviously, if you've got a squad enough, you know, if you've got when I say a big squad, I mean, our squad is very tiny. So if we get through injuries, then it will be like yourself, putting 16 or 17 or 18-year-olds on the bench, or even in the first team, because we've had to reduce our squad down quite dramatically. So for teams like us, I mean, I don't know what your squad numbers are like at present. You know, if you get a few key injuries, then you could be a bit knackered as such. Which
yeah, I think we're again. I mean, senior pros over the age of 21. I think we've got about 16.
Yeah,
and then the rest is made up of kids. So yeah, when you do get 5 or 6 injuries like we did have at the start of the season, it does make a big difference. And actually, probably one of our better players so far this season has been our goalkeeper David Marshall, who we only signed in the summer, but he's missed the last 3 games through injury. And Keller Roos has come in, who was a little bit suspect last year as Derby's number 1, has actually played 3 pretty decent games, to be honest. He kept the score. He certainly kept the score down against Rotherham on Saturday, and he made 2 fantastic saves against Bournemouth to give us, the 3 points. So I don't know if Marshall's back for tomorrow or not. I honestly haven't heard anything. And in terms of other players who are missing, we've pretty much got what we've got, and that's kind of been the issue. We're rolling with the same 15, 16, and like you say, with the amount of games that we have been playing. And it's the Rotherham game was a bit of a disappointment, but then obviously they came out and did what they did against Bournemouth. So it's a very much a don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, don't know which Derby side's going to turn up tomorrow, and that's
same with us.
The biggest worry.
Same with us, because it's the unknown. What team's going to turn up? I mean, yes, we've actually won 2 away games on the trot, and I thought we've defended quite well. We've had to, obviously, at times, but they kind of look a bit more solid. I don't know why, whether they've been working hard on the training pitch, but obviously not complaining because you're winning games, kind of thing. But so with regards to tomorrow, obviously, as it's well documented that our games ain't the most high-scoring games in most recent seasons, as we spoke about in the previous vlog that we did for the reverse fix-up at Pride Park. Is there any key players that we need to look out for tomorrow, other than Bielik, or the one who's...
Yeah, obviously. Bielik will, if given the time and space, he will cause trouble. Somebody who has impressed most of the seasons are one of our wingers, left winger, Kamil Jozwiak, who is another Polish player and actually was in the same youth team as Bielik coming up from the under-16s. The 2 of those have got this magical connection that, I mean, we've only seen it for like the last 6 or 7 games, but the communication that them 2 have got, you will see a lot, if given the opportunity, a lot of 40, 50-yard balls from Bielik straight to Jozwiak, who is very, very direct, very quick. Tricky winger. He's good at running with people with the ball at his feet, but his end product's a little bit. He's one of those players where you think he's going to lose the ball, but he'll come out with it. But then there's one where he's running, 30 yards unopposed, but then he'll trip over the ball, and it's like he's very in and out. Yeah. But he has probably been one of our most consistent players. And again, because Rotherham and Bournemouth performances was practically the same team, but chalk and cheese in actual performances, it's really difficult to say. I mean, Jason Knight, one of our central midfielders. In fact, our midfield's probably our strongest threat, really.
Okay.
As I say, we've started scoring a couple more goals from set pieces, which is nice because Derby have never been a side that have scored that many from corners. But I think we've got about 7 in the last 5 games. So, that's, I wouldn't necessarily say Derby are a threat from set pieces, but, it seems to be the case. But very much with Derby at the minute, it's we score in a game, we don't score the next game. We score a game, we don't score in the next game. So we scored Tuesday night. Chances are we won't score tomorrow. So
I don't know about that, to be honest with Jason. I mean, we defensively in the last couple of games we defended well, but other than that, it's been like unknown. Are we going to concede every game kind of thing? But things work on it, and then hopefully it works for them, which it has done. Luckily for us, we've rode our luck at times, which I think most teams have to do. But before we get on for the preview, the actual thoughts of the game tomorrow, what's the fans' view on with Rooney and McClaren there now, compared to when Rooney first come there as temporary in charge? I mean, are they happy with him and McClaren, or just what's the feeling amongst
I think it's a case of it doesn't at this moment in time. It doesn't seem to be broken, so don't fix. It doesn't seem to be broken, so don't just leave it alone. Derby are obviously in trouble. They're only just out of the relegation zone. Rotherham have got 2 games in hand. Actually, that one of them's actually against us because it got called off just before Christmas with COVID. And every time over the last kind of 7 or 8 games, wouldn't Derby get a result and you think, right, this is where they're going to start to kick on, and then they have a negative one. It might not be a loss; it might only be a 0-0, but it's a frustrating one because we've played okay and we should have got more out of the game, and then we haven't. And you can just see the confidence is still a little bit fragile at times. Against Bournemouth on Tuesday night, I thought we coped with them quite well. I thought Bournemouth actually were quite poor to say where they are in the league. But there was once or twice where really the Derby's defence weren't under any great pressure, and individual errors added pressure to them, and that's something that we have kind of seen a bit too much of so far this year. Certainly this season anyway. Just individual errors at the wrong times. It always seems to happen, and causes a bit of a problem. So, but as I say, they've kind of gone back to basics. It was very regimented under Philip Cocu. It was very much you've got 5 jobs to do in this game. You've got to, in this phase of play, you've got to be here. In that phase of play, you've got to be doing this. That seems to have been stripped away. Something that, certainly what we saw under McClaren in the 2 spells that we've had him as manager, it was just go out there, play your football, and we'll try and score more than you can score against us. Yeah. There was never anything too rigid about it, but it was free-flowing football. It's slightly different than that at the moment. I've got a feeling that's possibly down to personnel. And it is a little bit more, not build-up play, but it is a little bit more solid.
Yeah.
And that's why well, you need to. I mean,
season you've had like us. I mean,
absolutely.
You just want to.
We've conceded too many. Yeah. And that's exactly how it started when the 2 of them came in. It was right, strip it back to basics. And so the 1-1 draw against Wickham, the 1-1 draw against Coventry, while it looks disappointing because Derby expect to pick up results against those teams. I'm not doing any of them. I mean, Derby didn't finish Wickham off, and they came back to haunt them. Coventry actually could have been 4-0 up at half time against us. So we were quite lucky to, in the end, to come away with anything. But it was a strip back to basics, and then it's just gradually through a couple of players coming back from injury, that little bit of confidence, what a result brings you, just little bits and pieces, and obviously little tweaks, and you can just see McClaren's working his magic. I don't think Rooney's too hands-on in terms of the coaching. I think it is McClaren. And that's allowing Rooney to do the management side of things, which we actually thought when McClaren was with us, that was probably the weaker side of him. So the two of them seem to be working well at the moment. As I say, it's no miracle. They've not all of a sudden just, started beating everybody. It's a slow process, which is difficult when we have really only 16 senior players.
Sure.
And, the game tomorrow the first goal, I know it's a cliche, but the first goal could well be crucial. If Derby go behind early on, Derby's ability to bring match-winning or game-changing players off the bench, we just haven't got them. They are 16, 17-year-old lads. Some of them haven't even really played under 23s football. So expecting them to come off the bench and, drag your team out of a relegation battle in the last 20 minutes of games is a little bit harsh on them. But it's the scenario that we're in. We can't bring anybody in, so we've got to go with it.
I mean, we're similar in the sense of, I think the first goal was key in our games at present because obviously, the Luton game, they had chances to score. Luckily for us, our keeper made some good saves. They had some bad misses. Same with the Cardiff game on Wednesday night. Cardiff had a big aerial threat with keeper Moore up front. We managed to deal with it, but they had chances. I mean, we rode our luck, as I say, and you hopefully can't even go on the counter-attack and get some reward from it, which we did in both games. But prior to that, I mean, it just wasn't working. I mean, obviously with Rooney and McClaren, if as you say, they've both got good parts and bad parts, and so if it works together, that whatever they're doing can only be good for the team, I suppose, for any team. But obviously they're at Derby at present, so and I suppose from your point of view, and long may it continue. And then obviously if you start winning more games and pushing up the table, same with us. I mean, it's just a matter of obviously it's confidence building as well to a degree. With regards to the game tomorrow, as we previously said before, our games are not very high scoring. Now, watch it will be a high scoring game tomorrow. Now, what are your thoughts on what's your match prediction for the game if you got one?
Well, I actually do think it's going to be a better game than what it was against Pride Park from both. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate QPR won it, and any win away from home's a happy one. But in terms of the actual quality of the game, it wasn't great. I am expecting more from Derby. I'm expecting Derby to put up more of a challenge tomorrow. You're just off the back of beating third in the league. That has to breed confidence.
Cool.
You would hope. As I say, they've got Derby are playing in a way at the moment. It all depends how QPR will line up against us. If you guys come out and try and play against us, then we're in for an entertaining game. I think if it's a bit more calculated, then it could be a bit of a damp game.
Which I think.
It really is at the moment. So from what I've seen over the last 7 or 8 games, if Derby's key players are given time on the ball and can get into the game, so one of the things that they didn't get against Rotherham, that Rotherham ratted against them all, and Derby can't play like that. If given the time and they get the opportunities on the ball, they will create chances for us, and we will. Don't know about score, but we'll certainly create some chances, which will make in turn, which will make the game better. And I mean, as I say, other than that Middlesbrough 3-0, in the last 9 games, I think we've kept 6 clean sheets. So it's not been too bad. We've only conceded 1. So we've certainly tightened up.
Yeah.
Goal scoring, as I say, it was a bit of a worry. We are starting to score a few more now from set pieces, which is nice. And I'm going to be optimistic from a Derby's point of view. I say off the back of the Bournemouth result, you would hope that they turn up tomorrow. But I mean, I've always said the same. Any point away from home's a good result.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a terrible record at Loftus Road. I know over the last few years they've been pretty decent games, but more so at Loftus Road. So,
to be fair, Jason, I think we beat you for the first time in God knows how many seasons when we beat you last season 2-1.
Yeah.
I mean, overall record might be poor, but in the last few seasons, I think we've done okay at our place.
I can vaguely remember 1 or 2 decent results, but I think they've always been. I think they've always been pretty close at QPR. It's not been too bad for us. So, I mean, as I say, we scored Tuesday, so are we that? Have we got another one in the bag for tomorrow? I don't know. We're still a bit short on those things, but very similar to the Pride Park game. The game was going nowhere, really, and then one mistake or one bit of quality settled the game, really. And I think from a Derby's perspective, they'll possibly look again that tomorrow, and we are technically better defensively now than we were back in October time. So, like I say, a draw for me is better than anything. 1-1, I think, maybe.
Okay. I'm kind of similar, but in the sense of like, I think how we'll play tomorrow. I mean, just going by recent games that we've been in, I think we actually want teams to come up so we can counter attack, depending on what style of. I mean, Derby, like now Cardiff on Wednesday evening. Sorry, they're quite physical, and Luton. I don't think they were as physical, but they're some players and stuff. You know what I mean? So they're a bit more of a passing team, etc., like similar to us possibly, and yourselves to a degree. Obviously, if you've got the players to dig in and get stuck in, they are there. But whether they can do it for the full 90 minutes is another thing. I normally go for a draw, but for some reason, I think either way, I think it'll be either 1-0 or 2-1 to either side. It's not. I don't think it'll be another barnstorming game. I think between it won't be no. I'll be shocked if it's a high-scoring game tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To be fair, 2-1 either way. But I didn't want to sit on the fence, so that's why I wanted to come out with an actual result. But 2-1 either way wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, obviously, in my heart, I want us to win, and if we were to win, as I say, I think it'd either be 1-0 or 2-1. But because I think both teams are similar in a way in how the seasons have gone, and they've kind of had some upturn results in recent times, but you're still not sure because switch of a mistake, as you said earlier on. And the first goal in the game as well is whether your players can come back from that or our players can come back from that as such.
I think one of the big things, certainly from a Derby's perspective, as I say, certainly with it doesn't look like we're going to be able to bring anybody in the transfer window, which is going to really, really leave Derby in a difficult position. Sure. And the longer we are down near the bottom, I'm not confident that the team that Derby have got enough to fight relegation off if it goes on longer. It's last 8 games of the season, and we're really in there. We've really got to battle it away. I'm just not sure Derby have got it.
Okay.
So
I was thinking myself about us because until Charlie come in, and then we've signed another player from Hull, I think recently, some defender guy. He hasn't played yet. But obviously, I suppose because the team are playing kind of okay at the minute, we're unbeaten 2 away games, and who did we play before? Luton, I can't remember now. But anyway, I think it was Swansea, I can't remember who we played. But yeah, it's kind of tricky. So I think we're both similar in ways a lot this season.
It sounds like it.
We're down near the bottom, obviously for obvious reasons. We're not scoring enough goals, and obviously defensively as a team hasn't been doing it. I'm not saying that the players are not trying, but it hasn't gone in our favour as such due to whatever reason, whether it's a mistake or just better play from the other side as such. Anyway, Jason, I just want to thank you for joining me, Deejay Ranger on QPR Fans and Players TV Home and Away, for a pre-match preview of the game tomorrow between QPR and Derby, Saturday, 23rd of Jan, 2021 at Kaya Prince Foundation Stadium. Look out for Jason's podcast that he does alongside Corey, Washington DC member of the clan. Look out for Rams Review podcast. Go check them out, ladies and gents. That's it. So Deejay Ranger, Jason Shaw, Derby fan, Rams Review podcast alongside Corey. Unfortunately, couldn't make it. Just before we go, Jason, after match review tomorrow, will you be up for doing one? Yourself or Corey will be one?
Yeah, one of us will be able to help you there.
I mean, we both could be in shock tomorrow. Either way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but yeah, no. Pretty much straight after the game, one of us. I mean, I'll certainly be available. I'm hoping Corey will be able to.
Thank you very much for joining us on the channel, and I would say good luck for tomorrow. But obviously, I hope we have the better overview once again. But it's what team turn up tomorrow, I suppose. That's what counts.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, once again, thanks very much to Jason Straw, Derby fan, Ram Review podcaster. We're out of here. Come on, you odds.